And, we were talking about it, it was like in 2005, right? We were talking about like this thing that happened 20 years ago. And their kid was like, wait a minute, that's 20 years ago. And we're like, wait, what? What? Don't say that. And then two, that's like crazy that we're like, thinking about this memory, right? That we experienced 20 years ago and it's still so fresh in our minds and whatnot.
Yeah,
It's interesting how that kind of could translate, potentially to like technology, right? Because like the things 20 years ago, you typically think that those are like, you know, dead pieces of malware, right? Or dead pieces of technology just overall. But some of that stuff surprisingly is still around, right? I mean, is that true? Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they tweak it so much that it's no longer the same thing. What's your opinion on that?
so that really depends, what kind of technology. I mean, you see today that, technology evolved really fast. On one end or the other end, some things are still traditional. So that really depends. Talking about maybe traditional areas where technology, improves a little bit slower, especially in the military, medical, stuff like that. More conservative um, domains, I think they are getting even faster today. So everything gets really fast.
Hmm. Yeah, that's very true. I mean, like today, for instance, we have the Apple event, right? And like, I'm sure that new chip is going to be 10 times, 15 times faster than the one I have in my laptop right now, which was like their first gen Apple Silicon.
Yeah.
It's it's fascinating even to see, I'm on the technical side of IT, right? So
Yeah.
it's fascinating when I see like these software, manufacturers or even hardware manufacturers, and they have, the capability to still have that old piece of software running on their machine. It like intrigues me a little bit. It's like, man, like how did they think this through to have like these, these plugins by default and these languages and whatnot, like pulled in the libraries and whatnot. It's it's fascinating, right? But we don't have to go down that rabbit hole, right? Like we'll talk about that forever. When you were getting out of the IDF, what was that like? Were you did you have trouble like finding your next thing? And I ask that because in America, right, when I talk to these guys from the NSA and from the CIA and whatnot, right, like they can't talk about what they did for like 5 to 7 years, right? So they have to like fabricate their experience. They have to fabricate their history, right, and hopefully find a job. And if they make it past like that 7 year mark, like they're able to like kind of open the door into like, oh yeah, I was a spy, or oh yeah, I hacked, for the NSA and things like that. Is that the same kind of, I guess, mentality in Israel, or is it different?
So back these days, it was very clear for me that, after I finish the military service, I go to the Technion to my degree. I think that it's a little bit different today because it's getting really hard to get to those units today. And if you're good at what you are doing, you don't need to have any degree. You can just find a job. And since companies in Israel are full of employees that went out from these units, you can discuss a little bit about what you did, and you can be tested. If you go directly from the military service to work without even having a degree, but 25 years ago, it's best time not having a degree. I think that for me gave me more mature academic background for what I'm doing today. And I think, there's an increasing demand for software engineering all over the world, especially in Israel. You can see, even I know that big companies, even Google, Facebook, Apple, that have big offices in Israel, they have a list of many open jobs for a long time. So it's hard to get software engineers today, and this is why, employees, many of them are jumping directly from the IDF, if they can, of course, to direct employment with those giant or other sort of companies in Israel.